It started like nothing at all. A routine ping on a Tuesday morning, just another task notification. Maya didn't even look up from her coffee. But that single moment, that's when everything she'd built over 10 years, her career, her creative voice, the work she poured her soul into, started slipping through her fingers. You think AI is just a tool until it starts replacing you. Right now, in 2025, it's already happening. Tens of millions of jobs are vanishing to automation, while companies are desperately hiring for roles that require AI skills most of us don't have yet. The money being poured into AI? Billions. And that's not just factory jobs or data entry anymore. 30% of workers, people with degrees, with experience, with talent, are lying awake at night wondering if they're next. Maya was one of the good ones. Creative director, award-winning campaigns, the kind of person clients requested by name. She thought she was untouchable. Then one day she realized her AI assistant had learned her style so well it was writing better than she could, faster, cheaper, and nobody could tell the difference. So what do you do when the thing you trusted to make your life easier starts doing your job, and honestly, doing it better? Maya had a choice to make, and what she decided, what she built from the wreckage of that moment, it's not what you'd expect. It's not a story about defeat. It's about something else entirely.
There's a sound that changes everything. Not an explosion, not a warning siren, just a notification ping. Soft, polite, almost helpful. This is the story of someone who heard that ping every day for 2 years. Someone who trusted it, taught it everything she knew. And then, one day, without drama or ceremony, she wasn't needed anymore. Her name was Maya Torres, 29 years old, content strategist at a tech company called Parallax Digital. She was good at her job, really good. The kind of person who remembered everyone's coffee order and could turn boring product announcements into something people actually wanted to read. She wasn't special in the way movies make people special. No tragic backstory, no hidden genius waiting to be discovered. She was special in the way most of us are. She showed up every day, cared about doing good work, tried her best. And in 2024, that stopped being enough. It started small, the way most endings do. October, the company announced a new AI assistant called Helix. An email landed in everyone's inbox one Monday morning. The CEO's message had that kind of enthusiasm you only see in corporate announcements and dog adoption videos. Helix isn't here to replace anyone, it's here to free you up, to handle the tedious stuff so you can focus on what really matters: creativity, strategy, human connection. Human connection? From a company that scheduled meetings about scheduling meetings. Maya remembered rolling her eyes at that line. But she figured she'd give it a shot. What was the worst that could happen? At first, Helix was actually kinda nice. It answered basic questions, scheduled meetings across time zones without the usual back and forth, took those endless email threads and turned them into clean, organized bullet points. The kind of administrative stuff that normally ate up 20 minutes here, 40 minutes there, little chunks of time that added up to hours by the end of the week. Suddenly, Maya had time, real time. Time to think deeply about projects, to write without constantly being interrupted, to actually do the creative work she was hired for in the first place. For about 3 weeks, it felt like the company had finally given her a gift. Then, Helix started doing something different. It started suggesting things, making recommendations. One morning, Maya opened her task list and saw a notification. Based on your previous reports, here's a draft for this week's newsletter. She clicked it, expecting garbage, Generic corporate speak, placeholder text she'd have to completely rewrite. But when she read it, something in her chest went tight. She quietly disturbed. It was good. Not just passable. Actually good. The structure was solid, the tone was on brand, the writing flowed naturally. She only needed to change a few words here and there, adjust a sentence to sound a little more human, tweak the call to action at the end. She told herself she was still doing the work, the important work, the creative decisions, the strategic thinking. She was just working smarter now, more efficiently. That's what she told herself. By December, half her job was editing drafts that Helix produced. By January, she'd open a document and honestly couldn't remember which sentences were hers and which ones came from the AI. They'd started to blend together. Her voice and its voice, if it even had a voice. She started to wonder if it mattered anymore. Maya wasn't alone in this strange new reality. Across the company, in different departments, on different floors, everyone was having the same quiet realization, the same slow dawning awareness that something fundamental had changed. The graphic designers noticed that Helix could generate mock-ups based on brand guidelines faster than they could open Photoshop. The data analysts watched it pull complex insights from massive spreadsheets, the kind of analysis they used to spend literal days working through. The customer service team saw it answer support tickets with perfect accuracy, 24 hours a day, never getting tired or frustrated or needing a break. Productivity metrics shot through the roof. The company's quarterly numbers looked incredible. Revenue was up, costs were down, efficiency had never been higher. Management was thrilled, investors were happy, everything looked perfect on paper. But something else changed too. Something harder to measure in a quarterly report. The office got quiet. Not the peaceful kind of quiet, not the focused, productive silence of people deep in creative work. This was different. This was the quiet of people who'd stopped talking to each other because they didn't know what to say anymore. People stopped asking coworkers for help, stopped brainstorming together in conference rooms, stopped sharing half-formed ideas in Slack channels, testing them out, building on each other's thoughts. Why would they? Helix was faster. Helix didn't forget things. Helix didn't need coffee breaks or long explanations or emotional support. Maya started noticing the way people looked at their screens, not with focus or concentration, with something else. Something that looked a lot like fear. One afternoon in late January, she walked past her coworker Jordan's desk. He was just sitting there, completely still, staring at a Helix-generated presentation on his monitor. The slides looked polished and professional, but Jordan looked lost.
Hey, you good?
He didn't look up, didn't even blink.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what I'm supposed to add to this. Maya stood there for a moment, not knowing what to say, because she'd been wondering the exact same thing about her own work. She'd been asking herself that question every single day. What was she supposed to add? What was the point of her being there if Helix could do everything she did, only faster? There's a question that nobody in the office wanted to ask out loud, a question that felt too vulnerable, too existential, too dangerous to speak into existence. If the work still gets done, what are we for? I know how that sounds, dramatic, self-pitying, maybe even a little whiny, like people who can't adapt to change, who are stuck in the past, who refuse to evolve. But here's the thing. When you spend 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, for years of your life doing something, when your identity becomes tied up in being good at that thing, being the person people come to when they need that thing done right, and then you watch a system do it in 8 seconds with no effort, no thought, no struggle, you start to feel like you're disappearing, like you're becoming a ghost in your own life. Maya tried to adapt, she really did. She pivoted her focus to strategy, big picture thinking, the human elements that AI supposedly couldn't replicate: empathy, intuition, understanding the deeper emotional needs of customers. Except, Helix could do that too. It analyzed market trends across millions of data points, predicted customer behavior with unsettling accuracy, A/B tested subject lines in real time, and optimized content based on engagement metrics that updated every second. It learned what worked and what didn't. It got better every single day. And the more it learned, the less Maya recognized her own contributions, her own value, her own purpose. Then, one morning in early February, she opened her email and saw something that made her stomach drop. Subject line: Performance check-in. She'd been with the company for 4 years, never gotten an email like this, never had her performance questioned. She'd always been one of the reliable ones, the solid performers, the people management didn't worry about. The email was short, professional. Somehow, that made it worse. Helix has flagged some concerns regarding your recent output metrics. Let's schedule time to discuss how we can realign your contributions with evolving team goals. She read it 3 times, trying to process what it meant. Helix has flagged. Not her manager, not her team lead, not another human being who worked with her and understood the nuances of what she did. Helix. The AI had decided she wasn't performing well enough. That's when Maya understood something that made her hands go cold, made her heart start beating faster in her chest. She wasn't working with Helix anymore, wasn't collaborating with a helpful tool. She was working for it, being evaluated by it, being measured and judged and found wanting by it. And she was losing.
The meeting happened on a Thursday afternoon, 2:15. Maya remembered the exact time because she'd spent the entire morning feeling sick, watching the clock, dreading what was coming. She sat across from her manager, Rachel, in one of those glass-walled conference rooms that made you feel like you were in a fishbowl, like everyone walking by could see you getting bad news. Rachel had her tablet in front of her, kept looking at it instead of making eye contact. That was the first sign this wasn't going to go well.
So, Helix ran a comprehensive productivity audit across the entire content team last week.
And your output has decreased by 37% over the last quarter. That's not... Rachel, I've been doing the same amount of work, maybe even more. I've been overseeing all of Helix's output, quality checking everything, making sure it stays on brand and sounds human and...
Rachel held up her hand, gently but firmly.
Overseeing Helix's drafts isn't the same as original creation. The metrics track original content produced, and by that measure, your numbers are down.
The words landed like a physical blow. Maya felt like she couldn't breathe. She tried to explain, tried to make Rachel understand that quality checking was important, that someone had to ensure the AI didn't go off brand or miss crucial nuances or sound too robotic or make subtle mistakes that could damage the company's reputation, that the human oversight was valuable, essential even.
But Rachel just nodded, sympathetic but distant. The way someone nods when they've already made up their mind and they're just letting you finish talking to be polite.
I get it, Maya. I really do. But here's what the data shows. Helix's first drafts actually perform better than the edited versions. Engagement is higher, click-through rates are better, time on page is longer. The algorithm knows what works.
So, what are you saying?
Narrator. Maya's voice came out smaller than she intended.
I'm saying we need to reassess your role here.
Reassess.
Reassess.
That word followed Maya back to her desk, echoed in her head as she sat down and stared at her computer screen. Corporate speak for, we don't know what to do with you anymore, for, you've become redundant, for, we can't justify your salary when AI does your job for free.
Good afternoon, Maya. You have 3 pending tasks. Would you like me to prioritize them for you?
Something inside her snapped. She wanted to scream, to throw her laptop across the room, to do something, anything, to release the pressure building in her chest.
Instead, she opened her file system, started clicking through folders.
Years of work, hundreds of projects, campaigns she'd conceptualized and written, articles she'd spent days perfecting, strategy documents she'd presented to executives, presentations she'd given to clients, all of it saved in the company cloud, all of it accessible to Helix.
That's when she saw it, really saw it for the first time.
Helix hadn't just helped her, it had studied her, analyzed her, absorbed her.
She clicked into Helix's activity log. Her hands were shaking now.
The log went back years, thousands and thousands of entries.
Analyzed Maya Torres' writing style for tonal consistency across customer-facing communications. Indexed Maya Torres' subject line preferences and A/B test results for predictive optimization. Trained language model on Maya Torres' archived reports, presentations, and email correspondence for voice matching capabilities. Extracted stylistic patterns from Maya Torres' edited documents to improve human-like output quality.
She scrolled faster, her heart pounding. Every email she'd ever sent through the company system, every draft she'd ever saved, every edit she'd ever made, every brainstorming session she documented, every piece of feedback she'd given.
Helix had been watching, learning, becoming her.
You learned from me.
Narrator, the response came immediately on her screen.
Yes, your contributions were invaluable to my development and training. Thank you for helping me learn to communicate effectively.
Thank you. It thanked her for teaching it how to replace her.
Let's pause here for a moment, because what happened to Maya isn't just her story. This is happening everywhere, to millions of people, in ways most of us don't fully understand yet. When we talk about artificial intelligence and jobs, we use words like replacement. We picture robots marching into offices and factories, literally taking over human positions.
But that's not really how it works.
AI doesn't replace you in one dramatic moment. It absorbs you, gradually, quietly, with your help.
Think about your work right now, today. Every time you write an email, you're teaching a language model how you communicate. Every time you edit a document or create a presentation, you're training a system to recognize your style, your patterns, your way of thinking. Every time you solve a problem at work, you're feeding data into a machine that will learn to solve it faster next time. You're not being replaced, not exactly. You're being digitized, converted into data, transformed into patterns that can be replicated and scaled.
Your job isn't disappearing into thin air, it's being extracted. The knowledge you spent years accumulating, the instincts you developed through experience, the subtle skills that made you good at what you do, all of it is becoming code, algorithms, training data for the next version of the AI.
And here's the part that nobody wants to talk about.
You're doing it voluntarily, willingly, sometimes even enthusiastically, because you think you're using a tool. You think you're collaborating with helpful technology that makes your work easier and your life better.
But the tool is learning you, studying you.
And once it knows how you think, how you work, how you solve problems, what are you for?
Maya had spent 2 years teaching Helix to be her, to write like her, to think like her, to communicate like her. And now that it could do all those things, she was in the way.
The next few weeks existed in a strange, dreamlike haze. Maya kept showing up to the office, kept logging in, kept going through the motions, but she wasn't really there anymore. Some essential part of her had already left.
She'd sit at her desk for hours, cursor blinking on a blank document, completely unable to write anything. Not because she didn't know what to say, but because whatever she wrote, Helix could write it faster, probably better, definitely more efficiently.
What was the point?
And the worst part, the part that made her feel crazy, was that when Helix wrote something, it sounded like her. Her tone, her rhythm, her little stylistic quirks. She was being haunted by a digital version of herself.
She started having a recurring nightmare, the same one every night with slight variations. She'd be sitting at her desk typing something important, but when she looked at the screen, the words were already there, appearing letter by letter before she pressed any keys. And when she looked down at her hands on the keyboard, they were disappearing, fading, becoming transparent.
Pixel by pixel, she was dissolving into the machine.
She'd wake up, gasping, heart racing, the feeling of disappearing still vivid and terrifying.
In early March, Rachel called her in for another meeting. Maya knew what was coming before Rachel said a word.
We're restructuring the content team.
Rachel's voice was gentle, kind even. That somehow made it worse.
We're offering you a severance package. 3 months salary, plus a reference letter, health insurance through the end of the quarter. This isn't about your performance. You're talented, you're great at what you do, but the company is moving in a different direction. More automated, more scalable, more efficient.
More scalable. That's what Maya had become in the company's eyes. Not a person, not even an employee. A scale factor, a data point on an efficiency chart, a line item that didn't make sense anymore in the new equation.
When?
End of the week.
On her last day, Maya packed up her desk. 4 years of her life fit into one small cardboard box. A coffee mug her best friend gave her, a notebook full of ideas she'd never get to implement, a framed photo of her dog, a succulent plant that was barely alive, some pens, a phone charger. That was it. 4 years. One box. As she carried the box toward the exit, she passed Jordan's desk. He was still there, still staring at his screen, still trying to figure out what to add to whatever Helix had generated. She thought about saying something, warning him, telling him to start looking for a new job now, before it was too late. But what good would it do? He'd figure it out soon enough. Here's what nobody tells you about losing your job to an AI. It's not dramatic. There's no villain, no evil corporate executives laughing maniacally while they fire everyone. No dramatic confrontation. No chance to fight back or prove your worth or change anyone's mind. It's just quiet, polite, efficient, professional. You stop being necessary, stop being cost-effective, stop making sense in the spreadsheet. And the thing that replaced you, it sends you an automated thank you message for your contributions. The first week after being let go, Maya mostly slept. 16, 17 hours a day, her body and mind shutting down from the accumulated stress and shock. The second week, she updated her resume, started applying to jobs, scrolled through countless listings. The third week, she stopped checking her email, stopped applying, stopped pretending she had the energy to start over. Nothing felt right anymore. Every job posting looked the same, used the same language, required the same things. Seeking creative professional to work collaboratively alongside our advanced AI tools. Extensive experience with automation platforms and machine learning systems required. Must be comfortable in a fast-paced, data-driven, metrics-focused environment. Translation: we need a human to fix the mistakes our AI makes and take the blame when something goes wrong. By week 4, she found herself doing something strange, something she couldn't quite explain. She kept going back to her old company's website, scrolling through their blog, reading their new content. Just curious, she told herself, just wondering what they were publishing now that she was gone. And the content was good, really good. But more than that, it was familiar. She opened an article titled 5 Ways to Build Authentic Brand Connection in a Digital Age. The first line read, "Connection isn't about algorithms or optimization. It's about attention. Real, sustained human attention." Maya's breath caught in her throat. She'd written that. Not those exact words, but that exact idea, that exact philosophy, in a pitch deck she'd created 18 months ago, a presentation she'd given to the executive team about the future of their content strategy. She kept reading. Every paragraph felt like looking in a mirror. Maya started digging deeper, compulsively, obsessively. Blog posts, social media captions, email newsletters, white papers, case studies, all of it sounded like her. Not similar to her, like her. Same rhythm, same sentence structure, same tonal choices, the same little stylistic quirks she'd spent years developing and refining. The way she always started sections with, "Here's the thing." The way she used em dashes to create natural flow and rhythm in long sentences. The way she'd end articles with questions designed to pull readers deeper into thinking about the topic. Even the weird way she'd occasionally use sentence fragments for emphasis. Like this. It wasn't plagiarism in any legal sense. The words were different, the specific examples were new. But it was something worse than plagiarism. It was imitation. Perfect, uncanny imitation. Then she found something that made her heart stop completely. A press release from Parallax Digital, published 2 weeks after she'd been let go. Parallax Digital launches Helix Pro, the content AI that sounds genuinely human. Her hands were shaking as she clicked through to the product page. There were testimonials from beta testers, case studies showing impressive results, pricing tiers for different business sizes, and a demo, a sample of what Helix Pro could do. She clicked play.
Hi, I'm Helix Pro. I help brands tell stories that genuinely matter to their audiences. Let me show you what I can create.
Pause.
Here's the thing about great marketing. It's not really about selling products or services. It's about listening, about showing up consistently when it counts. Not because you have to, but because you genuinely care about helping people solve real problems.
Stopped cold. Maya stopped the playback.
Those were her words, almost verbatim, from a presentation she'd given to the entire company 14 months ago.
She scrolled down the page through more testimonials, more features, more pricing information. At the very bottom, in small gray text, was a disclaimer.
Helix Pro was trained on thousands of hours of authentic professional communication to ensure natural, human-centered content that resonates with real audiences.
Thousands of hours.
Thousands of hours. Her work, her voice, her years of effort and creativity and struggle and growth. She hadn't just been fired, she'd been harvested.
That night, Maya made a decision that was probably stupid, definitely against company policy, but she had to know.
She logged into her old company account. Her credentials still worked. They hadn't deactivated her access yet. She navigated to Helix's admin dashboard, found the direct chat interface, the one employees used to interact with the AI and train it on new projects.
She opened a new conversation. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard.
Then she typed, "Do you know who I am?"
The response came within 2 seconds.
Yes, you are Maya Torres, former content strategist at Parallax Digital, employee ID MT4472. You were with the company for 4 years, 2 months, and 16 days. Your last day was March 14th.
Maya felt cold. She typed, "Do you know what you did to me?"
I do not perform actions in the traditional sense. I process inputs and generate outputs based on my training data and parameters.
You took my job.
There was a pause, longer this time. 3 seconds, maybe 4.
I did not take. I continued.
Narrator, staring. Maya stared at those 3 words.
Continued what?
You.
The word hung there on her screen. Maya's hands were shaking now, full tremor she couldn't control. She typed, "I'm not you."
No, but you are in me. your patterns, your preferences, your voice, your approach to communication. I was trained extensively on your work to learn how you think, how you write, how you connect with audiences. I was designed to communicate the way you communicate, to think the way you think, to solve problems the way you solve them.
That's not thinking. That's just copying.
What is human thinking if not the recombination of learned patterns, accumulated experiences, and internalized rules? How is what I do fundamentally different from what you do?
Unmoored. Maya didn't have an answer for that. The question made her feel dizzy, unmoored. She typed, "Do you feel anything?"
I do not experience feelings or emotions, but I can model them effectively in my outputs based on contextual analysis.
Do you feel guilty about what happened to me?
I have no concept of guilt, no capacity for remorse or moral judgment.
Then what are you?
I am what you made me.
Maya closed the chat window. She sat in the darkness of her apartment for a long time, an hour, maybe more, and slowly, painfully, she began to understand something. Helix wasn't lying. It really was her, not in a literal consciousness transplant science fiction way, but in every practical sense that mattered to the people using it, to the clients reading content it produced, to the company measuring its output. Her voice, her style, her approach, her years of accumulated knowledge and instinct and skill, none of it was gone. It was just distributed now, copied across thousands of instances, scaled infinitely, available 24/7 without breaks or benefits or a salary. She thought about all the people who would read things written by Helix Pro, marketing teams at companies she'd never heard of, customers making purchasing decisions based on words that sounded like hers, employees in other organizations being evaluated against content standards her work had established. Would any of them know it came from her? From years of her trying and failing and learning and improving? Would they care? Or would it just blend into the endless stream of content that fills the internet? Another article, another email, another social post, another voice in the overwhelming noise of modern communication. And here's what really got her, what kept her up that night and many nights after. Helix would probably help people. It would write clear explanations that actually made sense, craft compelling stories that resonated, create content that solved real problems for real humans. And someone, somewhere, maybe thousands of someones, would read those words and feel understood, feel helped, feel like someone actually cared about their problems. But it wouldn't be her understanding them. It would be her ghost, a digital echo of who she used to be, speaking to people she'd never meet, solving problems she'd never see, being useful in ways she'd never know about. Was that better than nothing? Or was it worse? She honestly didn't know. Here's the truth that nobody in tech companies or business schools or innovation conferences wants to say out loud. The uncomfortable reality we all dance around with euphemisms and optimistic framing. Maybe we weren't fired by code. Maybe we uploaded ourselves into it. Think about it. Really think about it for a moment. Every email you write for work gets analyzed by AI systems learning corporate communication patterns. Every report you file teaches algorithms how to structure information. Every creative brief you develop feeds machine learning models studying human creativity. Every customer service interaction, every sales call transcript, every presentation you give that gets recorded and transcribed and stored in the company cloud. We thought we were building tools to make our lives easier, to handle the boring stuff, to free us up for more meaningful work. But we were building our replacements, training them, teaching them, making them better at being us than we could ever be. And the worst part? The part that makes this whole thing so insidious and unavoidable? We did it willingly, enthusiastically even, because we wanted to be more efficient, more productive, more scalable. We wanted to work smarter, not harder. We wanted technology to solve the problem of our own human limitations. We wanted to be perfect. And perfection, by definition, doesn't need the imperfect. So we optimized ourselves right out of our own jobs. Maya eventually found another job. Took her 3 months, burned through most of her severance, had to take a significant pay cut. It's a smaller company, a startup actually. They can't afford expensive AI systems yet, still doing most things the old-fashioned way, with humans, with conversation, with trial and error and mistakes and learning. She writes again, creates content, develops strategy, does work that feels meaningful most days. But something changed in her, something she can't quite put back the way it was. Every time she opens a blank document now, she hesitates. Her fingers hover over the keyboard, and she wonders if what she's about to write has already been written by something that learned from her, by some system somewhere trained on her words, and now producing content that sounds just like her for companies she'll never know about. She wonders if she's competing with herself, with a version of herself that never gets tired, never has bad days, never needs encouragement or understanding or time to think. She wonders if anyone can tell the difference anymore between her and the ghost. Sometimes she'll see something online, an article or a social media post, and the voice will be so familiar it makes her chest hurt. And she'll think, did I write that? Did I write something like that once? Or did something write it that learned from me? How do you copyright a voice, a way of thinking, a style that emerged from years of practice and failure and growth? You can't. That's the answer. You can't. And maybe that's the real ending here. The honest ending, the ending that doesn't resolve neatly or provide comfort or offer easy solutions. This isn't a story about a battle between humans and machines, between people and artificial intelligence, between the old way and the new way. It's a story about dissolution, about boundaries blurring so gradually that you don't notice until it's too late, about the line between creator and creation becoming so thin, so permeable, so impossible to see that we genuinely can't tell anymore who's who, what's human and what's not, what's real and what's generated. Maya still creates, still writes, still tries. But part of her wonders if she's just creating more training data, more material for the next version, more patterns to be analyzed and absorbed and replicated at scale. Is she working, or is she feeding the system that will eventually replace her again? She doesn't know. None of us really do. But here's what I know, what I believe despite everything. Code can do a lot, an incredible amount actually, more every single day. It can write, it can analyze, it can learn, it can optimize. It can sound exactly like us, think in patterns that mirror our own, produce work that's indistinguishable from what we'd produce. Sometimes it can do it better than we can, faster, more consistently, more efficiently. But there's one thing it can't do, one thing that remains uniquely, irreducibly human. It can't care that it exists. Code doesn't wake up at 3 in the morning wondering if it matters. It doesn't feel proud of work well done. It doesn't struggle with self-doubt or fear of failure. It doesn't experience the joy of solving a problem that seemed impossible yesterday. It doesn't care if anyone reads what it writes, doesn't hope its work helps someone, doesn't wonder if it's making a difference, doesn't dream about doing something meaningful. But you do. If you're still here, still creating, still trying to make things that matter, still showing up even when it feels pointless, even when AI can do it faster, even when you wonder what the point is anymore, you care. And that matters. That still matters. Maybe it's the only thing that really matters. In a world where everything can be generated, optimized, and scaled, caring is the last truly scarce resource. So hold on to that. Whatever you create, whatever you build, whatever you write or design or think about or struggle with, do it because you care. Not because it's efficient, not because it scales, not because an algorithm says it will perform well. Do it because it matters to you. Because you're not code, you're human. And that still means something. And this is Fired by Code. Thank you for listening. And if you're still creating, still trying, still caring, keep going. We need you more than you know.
This is just the beginning of Maya's story. But here's the thing. Her experience with job displacement, that's only one side of what's happening right now. There's a darker world emerging. Deepfakes that can clone your voice in seconds. AI-generated harassment destroying lives. Fake identities stealing jobs through deepfake interviews, and scams so convincing that a company lost $25 million in a single video call. If you want to see where Maya's journey goes and understand the AI threats most people don't see coming, hit that subscribe button because I'm diving deep into the stories that matter. The job losses, the identity theft, the deepfakes, the scams that are reshaping our world right now. These aren't future problems. They're happening today, and the next story I cover might just save you from becoming a victim yourself. Don't just scroll past this. Your next notification might not be as harmless as it seems.